Every huge company, every product that changes the world, every brand you can think of, they all started in the exact same way, as a simple idea. So how in the world does that little spark turn into a massive global business? Well, that's what we're going to dig into, the whole journey from spark to scale, using some key insights from our source material.
We've all had it, right? That aha moment. That brilliant idea for a business you think of in the shower. But let's be honest, most of those ideas just fade away. Our guide here, the business book, is all about shining a light on the path that these successful ideas take. It's all about closing that huge gap between what you can imagine and what you can actually make real. And that really is the million-dollar question, or I guess the billion-dollar question, right? It's not just about how good the idea is. It turns out there's a specific journey, a whole series of steps and changes that can turn a cool concept into a real, breathing company. So let's walk down that path together.
Okay, so everything starts right here. It's that magic combination of an idea and the actual will to get up and do something about it. But here's the thing. According to the source, almost half of all new startups are gone within the first 3 years. So what on earth does it take to actually beat those odds?
This quote really captures that boundless optimism you have to have as a founder. But the book makes it super clear that the doing it part, well, that's where the real work, the hard work, begins. It's all about turning that dream into a plan, then a product, then a real company.
And this gets to the absolute core ingredient. It's not enough to just have an idea. You have to have this spirit, this engine that drives you to chase it no matter what. It's having the guts to quit your day job, to look uncertainty in the face and say, let's go, and to build something from absolutely nothing. You could almost think of this as a recipe for survival. First, you need the great idea, but it has to be tied to a solid plan. Then you need that risk-taking spirit we were just talking about. Next, you need the actual practical skills, the business smarts to make it happen. And maybe the most important thing of all, you need that grit, that sheer determination to get up after you've been knocked down, because you will get knocked down. If any one of these pieces is missing, the whole thing can just fall apart. So to really get where business is going, it helps to take a quick look at where it's been. And what's wild is that while technology has completely changed the tools we use, the basic principles of business, making something valuable, managing people, finding customers, they're pretty much timeless. This timeline tells such a cool story. We went from these small, local, family-run shops to the era of mass production, thanks to people like Henry Ford, which just blew the lid off of what scale meant. Then, after the wars, we saw the birth of huge global brands, fueled by TV and radio, creating names everyone knew. And all of that led us to right now, the digital age, where the internet gives entrepreneurs a global stage right from day one.
Okay, so you have your idea. You've got that entrepreneurial spirit. But in today's world, that's just the ticket to the game. It's not enough. The next massive challenge is finding your own little corner of the market. How do you possibly get noticed when it feels like every single market is already jam-packed?
I absolutely love this question from the book because it's just so sharp, so perfect. It's actually pretty easy to find something nobody else is doing. That's a gap in the market. The real multi-million-dollar question is this: is there a market in the gap? Are there actual people who will pull out their wallets and pay you to fill that void?
This really boils down your whole competitive strategy into one simple choice. It's a fork in the road. Are you going to win by inventing a whole new category, by being the very first to do something? Or are you going to jump into a space that's already there, but just do it so much better, so differently, that you become the only real choice? That's what differentiation is all about. It's giving people a compelling reason to choose you. Think about eBay and Facebook. They're the perfect examples of these two different roads. eBay basically invented the online auction market from scratch and has owned it ever since. But Facebook, well, it definitely wasn't the first social network, not by a long shot. But they came in and just perfected the model, and we all know how that turned out. It just goes to show you don't always have to be first, but you absolutely have to be better. Okay, so let's imagine you did it. Your idea is working, you found your niche, you've got customers. Now comes what the book calls the single most difficult transition of them all. It's a personal one, because the skills that got you started, they're not the same skills that are going to help you grow.
At the start, you're that person on the left. You're hustling, you're doing every single job yourself, you are the engine. But for the company to grow, you have to become the person on the right. You have to become a leader who builds a team, who directs a bigger vision. It's this huge, sometimes painful, mental shift from doing all the work to empowering other people to do their best work.
This is a classic idea in business called the Griner curve. Basically, as a company gets bigger, it's guaranteed to hit these crises of leadership and chaos. The passion and just winging it that worked when you were in a garage with 3 people, well, that's going to cause total chaos when you have a team of 30. Your own success literally forces you to get organized, to build systems, to delegate, and to learn how to actually lead. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most crucial stage of this journey. You see, getting a business up and running is one thing, but keeping it alive, keeping it successful for decades, that is a totally different ballgame. Long-term success isn't a finish line you cross. It's a constant, never-ending process.
Now, this famous quote from Intel's Andy Grove sounds pretty intense, right? But paranoid here doesn't mean being afraid of your own shadow. It means having a healthy, sharp awareness that your competition is always trying to catch up. It's knowing that becoming comfortable is the single biggest threat to your business. It's about always looking over your shoulder for the next threat, even if it comes from somewhere totally unexpected.
I really love this metaphor. A company is like a living thing. You know, like a snake has to shed its skin so it can grow? A business has to constantly shed its old ways of thinking, its old products, to make room for new ones. It can't stay the same. It has to adapt to its environment to survive.
And these 2 examples just hammer the point home. Kodak was a giant, a titan of industry, but they were too slow to really embrace the digital camera, and they basically vanished. On the flip side, you have a company like Haier, an appliance maker, that has completely remade itself at least 3 different times in 30 years, just to stay on top. The lesson is simple: adapt or die. This quote just wraps it all up perfectly. Business is never really about what's happening today. It's always about what's coming next. It's about trying to guess what changes are on the horizon and getting your company ready to meet them. It's a constant, gut-level exercise in seeing the future.
So this journey from a little spark to a lasting company is all about constant learning and adapting, not just for the business, but for the person running it. And you know, as the world keeps changing faster and faster, the opportunities for people with a good idea and that entrepreneurial spirit have never been bigger. So the only real question left is, what will you build?